Welcome to the Studio Success Formula Podcast, the business school for dance studio owners. And now for your host, Clint Salter.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Studio Success Formula Podcast. I'm your host, Clint Salter, and today we've got a little bit of a different episode for you. Now, you know I'm mixing it up at the moment, hearing feedback from you guys on, Clint, I love your solo shows. I love that show where you had that guest on. And, well, today we're doing something a little bit different. Today, I'm hearing from one of you. That's right. A couple of people have left me voicemail messages with their questions. And so today I'm going to answer one of those questions. So let's have a listen to our message from one of our audience members, Natalie.
Hi Clint, this is Natalie Stubbs. I'm calling from BDC Dance Studios in Melbourne, Australia. My question is about those new student inquiries that come in right when you're in rehearsals for upcoming performances. As a teacher, it drives me mental having new students join right when we're trying to polish routines that are already choreographed. But on the other hand, as the principal of the school, I know we're not at capacity yet, so I want as many students through the door as possible. We need those extra enrollments to keep the studio running. What can I do to keep my teachers, my current students, my potentially new students, and my business all happy and thriving?
Hey, Natalie, that is a fantastic question. It's really the $1 million question you asked at the end. Basically, how can I keep everybody happy? And don't we want to do that as studio owners? We want to keep everybody happy. So I'm going to give you my thoughts on this question, and some of you, I don't think you're going to like it. I recently came back, as some of you know, from speaking in the US to lots of studio owners, and one of the questions I always love to ask is, how many months a year are you operating your dance studio? Because I remember back in the day, people would be operating maybe their studio for like 7 or 8 months of the year. And now what I'm love seeing is that people are operating their studio 9, 10, and 11 months of the year. So it doesn't make sense if you're operating over that many months to only take students for maybe 4, maybe 5, maybe even 6 months of the year. I don't know any other business that only takes students a couple of months a year, and then they literally shut their door and they say, when a new inquiry rings, they say, oh, sorry, we're not taking inquiries at the moment. You're going to need to wait 4 months or 5 months or 6 months to come and join us. Do you think they're going to wait? No, consumers aren't like they used to be. They want things now. You know, that parent with that child that wants to come to dance class, hey, you know what? They want to come to dance class now. So my philosophy is keep your studio open for new enrollments as long as you can. And ideally, it's only 4 weeks leading up to the recital that you won't be taking new students in. And I know some of you are probably already saying, or maybe you've already pressed the stop button saying, oh, Clint, we couldn't do that, because we've got costumes and we've got teachers that are doing routines and they've set places. And so if that's your reaction, well, then that's going to be the reaction of your staff and your parents and your students. But I want you to shift your mindset. I want you to shift the way you think about a new student coming in 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks before a recital being a nuisance, because they're not a nuisance, they're actually a new customer. And you need to give them more love and support because they're coming in at a slightly challenging time. It's not just challenging for you, it's also challenging for that new student and parent. So the first tip number 1 I want to give you is set the expectations at the beginning of the dance year to everyone. And this includes your teachers. So hopefully you've got your, solid teacher contracts in place. And when you do your first teacher retreat or you have a meeting with your teachers, you need to say, and if you haven't done this before, you need to say, hey, everyone, I'm really excited this year. I've been planning over the holidays and we've decided that, you know what, it's really silly that we say no to new enrollments, 6 weeks, 8 weeks out of the concert or recital. And I kind of looked into it, and I looked around what we would have to do to make that work. And you know what? It's not as hard as I thought. Okay, so you actually will need to sell this to the teachers, but it's not going to be as hard. When we think about routines, if the teachers are prepared that, hey, you know that diamond or that pyramid formation, we're actually going to need to fill in those gaps at the back of that pyramid with a couple of new students, well then do it. You know, you're actually just going to need to do it. The teacher's going to need to do it. But if you let them know that up front, well, then there's not going to be any of those awkward conversations or conflicting, incidents when a couple of new students get put into a class. So I want to reiterate that you don't need to make a big deal about it. You know, you should be happy when people are knocking on your door, and you shouldn't be turning them away. The other thing I get is, but Clint, what about costumes? You know, we need to order costumes so far in advance. And so what I want to say to you is you need to be really careful when you're negotiating the terms with your costumes. So if you're getting them produced overseas by an overseas manufacturer, you need to say to them, hey, I really love the work that you do and I'm happy to go with you, but we might get new students in this routine 4 weeks, or maybe you do 6 weeks out from the recital, and I actually need you to be able to turn around a new costume in a week. Are you able to do that? If not, that's fine. We'll have to go somewhere else, but I need you to be able to do that. Okay. And most of the time your manufacturer is going to say, sure, we can do that. How many would it be? Well, it might be 3, it might be 5. And you know your numbers better than I do in terms of those new inquiries that you're getting. But the costumes are not as hard as we think. And if they are, and the person you're working with can't actually get you your costumes in that turnaround time, well, there's a bit of a problem. The other thing you might look at is if your manufacturer can't get you those costumes in time, that you source someone locally that can duplicate that costume for you. That's also been an option for some of our members. In terms of your students, again, if they know that this is a possibility, they're going to be fine. What you need to look after is that new student coming in, because ideally they're going to jump in for, the last 6 weeks or 8 weeks of classes before the recital, and they're going to feel completely out of the group. So the best thing you can do is give them a class buddy or 2 class buddies. And these buddies are super friendly kids that love their dancing but are not competitive. They're not your frontline kids. They're not the people that had, push someone out of the way to get in the front line. These are your friendly kids that love coming to dance. You want to make sure they've got a buddy. This is going to help with your retention as well of that student. Now, if you are like nodding your head and you're crying and you're yelling at the computer as I tell you to take people that close to recital and concert, hey, look, I've been there with my studio and we did it. And I've seen a lot of our other members who have adopted the same thing. One in particular who, has increased her revenue by $2,000 a month just by leaving her classes open more. And she's made it work, and she gets an extra 3 months of revenue, another $6,000 every year from doing this. So I definitely want you to consider it, sleep on it before you throw your coffee mug at the computer. Now, the other thing you do, if you want to close it off 8 weeks, I'm a big fan of 4, but if you want to close it off 8 weeks, what you might want to do before that 8 week shut off is promote specialty courses. So you might want to offer a 6-week or an 8-week or a 4-week course in a particular popular dance topic, subject for a particular age group, and you might just sell that as a 4-week course or a 6-week course. Okay, these ones are nice, short and sharp because they're like mini coaching calls. Natalie, I hope that answers your question. It's a fantastic question. The big takeaways, guys, keep your enrollments open longer. I mean, you are running a business, and you need to do it really so that you can grow and scale your business. If you want to bring new numbers in, if you want to bring those new enrollments in, don't say no to people, unless they're not your ideal student or parent. We don't want to say no to those. We want to say no to those people. But if they're perfect, don't say no. Take them and make it work. It doesn't need to be a big issue. Okay, awesome. Natalie, hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for your question, and we'll see you all again in next week's podcast. Bye for now.